Firstly, we will introduce the matrix. Basically speaking, the matrix is a standardization expression of the linear equations. We will focus on the linear algebraic equations and the linear ordinary differential equations. Now we have equations like this. A11 times x1 plus A12 times x2 equals B1. A21 times x1 plus A22 times x2 equals B2. This is a common linear algebraic equation set with two variables. It can have a standardization expression in the form of the matrix easily. We define a matrix A contains A11, A12, A21, and A22. This is a 2 by 2 matrix. It has 2 rows and 2 columns. So it's a 2 by 2 matrix. We define another matrix, X equals X1 and X2. This is a 2 by 1 matrix. It has 2 rows and 1 column. Such a matrix with 2 rows and 1 column can also be called a vector. The third matrix is B equals B1 and B2. It's a matrix with 2 rows and 1 column, or a vector. With these definitions, the linear algebraic equation set with 2 variables can be written as a form of A times X equals B. What's the reason? It's because of the discipline of the matrix multiplication. Let's write them down. The result of a 2 by 2 matrix times a 2 by 1 matrix can only be a 2 by 1 matrix. That is, a matrix with 2 rows and 1 column. So what's its first element? It equals this value times this value plus this value times this value. In other words, every element in the first row of the first matrix times every element in the first column of the second matrix, and then add them together. So the first element equals A11 times x1 plus A12 times x2. Its second element equals every element in the first row and in the second row of the first matrix times every element in the first column of the second matrix, and then add them together. So it equals A21 times x1 plus A22 times x2. This is the rule of the matrix multiplication. We take a 2 by 2 matrix times a 2 by 1 matrix as an example. If the second matrix is also 2 by 2, then obviously we will get a 2 by 2 matrix. We won't explain it anymore. Similarly, we can list two differential equations. dx1 over dt equals minus x1 plus 2 times x2. dx2 over dt equals minus x1 minus 4 times x2. They are linear ordinary differential equations of x1 and x2. They have standardization expressions in the form of the matrix. On the left side of the equation is dx1 over dt and dx2 over dt. On the right side of the equation is a matrix times x1 and x2. So what are the elements of this matrix? They are minus 1, positive 2, minus 1, and minus 4. Why? Minus 1 times x1 plus 2 times x2 equals the first element. Minus 1 times x1 plus minus 4 times x2 equals the second element. So you can see that the matrix can be used to represent a linear algebraic equation set or a linear differential equation set standardly. This is the principle of the matrix.